She was a peasant girl who commanded armies, a teenager who struck fear into the hearts of England's most ruthless warriors. But in the end, they burned her alive. But here's what they don't tell you. Joan of Arc didn't just fight for France, she fought against the impossible. And today, her legend still echoes across time. But was she truly chosen by God? Or was she a brilliant strategist who rewrote history? Stay with me as we unravel the astonishing truth behind Joan of Arc's epic rise and her heartbreaking fall. Boldly exploring Joan of Arc's epic legend. Imagine being just 13 years old and suddenly hearing voices telling you, you have a divine mission. Sounds like a medieval superhero origin story, right? Well, for Joan of Arc, this was no fantasy. She claimed Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret had spoken to her, urging her to save France from the English invaders. Now, if you're thinking, a teenager convincing grown men to follow her into battle? Yeah, right, that's fair. But here's the twist. She did. In 1429, France was losing the 100 Years' War. The English had captured much of northern France and the French crown was in crisis. The Dauphin, Charles VII, was a weak, hesitant leader until Joan arrived. With nothing but her faith and sheer audacity, she demanded to meet him, and against all logic, she did. Now picture this. A 17-year-old farm girl marching into the royal court, looking the future king in the eye and saying, "Hey, you're losing your kingdom, let me fix that." Beat silence, then a chuckle. Honestly, bold move. But Charles, desperate for hope, let her lead an army to Orléans, a city under siege by the English. The fate of France now rested on a girl who had never seen battle. What happened next was nothing short of a miracle. Joan rode into Orléans dressed in white armor, carrying a banner instead of a sword. Her presence alone electrified the troops. Morale surged. Soldiers who had once felt doomed now believed in something greater. And then, they won. In just 9 days, Joan led the French to a shocking victory, breaking the siege of Orléans. The English, humiliated, France, reinvigorated. She became a national hero, leading Charles to his coronation. It seemed like destiny had placed her in the heart of history's grandest tale. But here's the thing about rising too fast. The fall hits even harder. Because just a year later, Joan would be captured, and this time there was no escape. In 1430, during a battle at Compiègne, Joan was captured by the Burgundians, French allies of England, but instead of ransoming her, they sold her to the enemy. I mean, talk about bad friends, right? Hey, thanks for saving France. Now let's sell you off to the highest bidder. The English put her on trial for heresy. It was a political execution disguised as justice. She was interrogated, threatened, and ultimately convicted. And then on May 30th, 1431, at just 19 years old, Joan of Arc was tied to a stake and burned alive. But here's the thing. They didn't destroy her legacy, they ignited it. Decades later, the same French court that condemned her, they overturned the verdict, declaring her innocent. And centuries later, the Vatican canonized her as a saint. Joan of Arc went from being a so-called heretic to one of the most celebrated figures in history. Her story isn't just about war, it's about defying the odds, believing in something bigger than yourself, and proving that courage can change the world. And if Joan of Arc could rise from nothing to reshape history, what's stopping you? Joan's story teaches us that small actions, small decisions, can snowball into something massive. Speaking of small actions with big impact, did you know that even the tiniest financial habits can make you incredibly wealthy over time? Click here to watch my next